People with active trauma can't be good friends. No matter how much they try, and no matter how much they think they're doing the right thing, it's near impossible that they will ever be a good friend to you. I am currently in Asia, so it's very hot. I am very musty, and you can hear the fan going off at the top, but I'm really sorry for the sound quality if it's bad. But there was just something that came to my mind. I woke up this morning and I just wanted to get it out in the world and just kind of convey this message and this insight I've had and collected over the years, is that every time I've met a person and they've shared that they've had a very traumatic childhood or upbringing or past or ex or something, and they're usually talking about it because it's still haunting them. And you're not a paid therapist, so why should you listen to it, you know? And I've made the mistake over and over again where I would think, oh, vulnerability is great, and if I give people the opportunity to be open to me and share their deepest, darkest secret, then we're probably closer on a level that like other people are not close. That's not true. That's almost never true. Yes, it's one thing to connect with people, get to know them, be friends with them for a long time, and then one day they're having a really bad time and they really, really cannot self-regulate, or they're in an unsafe situation and they reach out to you for your help. That's one thing, to go out there and help them and kind of figure out the situation, but no one should ever, ever, ever rely on you solely to figure something out and constantly ask you for advice, constantly ask you for just like a listening ear, just someone who can, like, you know, be there for you kind of thing. They shouldn't be doing that to you often, because there is a profession for that and it's called therapy or therapist. And there are people that are professionally paid a lot of money. They take a lot of money to listen to your heavy, heavy, heavy emotional unpacking stuff, and they should go to them. So as an older sister or as a friend, my advice to people, or my younger self, would be to never be friends with people or think that they can provide value to me, especially when they're actively working on their trauma and that's all they can talk about. Like, it's great if I can connect with them over other interests, but if trauma is the only thing that I can connect with them over, then it's not a good friendship. It's just a trauma bond. And the moment they find a new shiny object, someone they can get their validation out of, you will be kicked off, and the relationship and the value and all these years and all the hours of effort and listening you've done, it will be gone within a second. I've recently come across something like that. I've had actually two experiences back to back, where a couple years ago I was going through something and I trauma bonded with people because I thought that was my only way of relief, because obviously a healthy person wouldn't want to listen to my bullshit. But at that time, I was young and I didn't have help, and therapy was expensive, and I just needed friends and support system to help me get over it. But that was not my sole personality, because I was going through it for like 6 months, and then I snapped out of it and I was like, Nashin, you need to work on yourself. You need to figure this out alone, and no matter how much talking you do about your trauma, it's never gonna fix it. You know how they say, like, venting never really fixes the issue? It's very true. You have to come to peace and acceptance with it by yourself. No matter how much you talk about it to someone, it will usually never resolve on its own. During the first couple days, maybe you can unpack to your closest people, but be mindful of their time and their energy. And then eventually you have to sit with yourself, sit with those emotions and get over it, because if you're traumatized, if you're hurting with something, no one else is going to be affected more than yourself. And everywhere you're going, all these beautiful places, vacation, parties, hanging out with friends, family, you're just carrying that bag with you everywhere, and within a blink of an eye, you're going to spend 80 years of your life and you're gone, and all your life you've been carrying that bag with you that was so unnecessary, you know? you'll be missing out on so much because you're not fully present. And as someone who's gone through a lot in life, I can attest to it that I don't have to. Like, it doesn't make me any better person by just keeping my baggage with me. Like, it doesn't make me any better than anyone else. It's almost like people with trauma or pull out the trauma card often, like, oh, you triggered my trauma, oh, this triggered my trauma, oh, this crowd triggered my trauma. I mean, maybe I can feel bad for you, I can understand you, but really, like, once or twice, third time, fourth time, it's like, what are you doing, you know? Maybe you should avoid the crowd, maybe you should avoid certain people and certain things, but if everything is triggering your trauma, it's really hard for you to go out there, live your life. Maybe you should just be in a mental asylum. Nothing's gonna trigger you there. You're stuck in a room. So take care of your trauma and, like, don't go out there and traumatize other people. Yeah, so fast forward, I was there for her all the time, and I would listen to her trauma, and she would always be like, you're my best friend, and I can't believe, like, I haven't met you all these years, and I'm so grateful for you, and, you know, you're so smart, you're so talented. And I'm like, oh, thanks, but, like, low-key, I don't need her to tell me. I know I'm a great friend and I'm valuable to people, and it won't take me 2 minutes to cut someone off if they treat me otherwise, and if they take advantage of me. But this very person who was so grateful for so many years, that I've helped her through and through, and yeah, remember how I told you that I met her at a time when I was very sad, right? I worked on it. She moved to a different country, and we reconnected like a year later, and then we started talking every day, and she was still hurting about certain things that she was hurting from like 2 years ago. And now it's almost like 3 years in, and she's still talking about the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, get over it. And the crazy part is, she also has a therapist. But another red flag, she doesn't like her family. She doesn't like any of her friends. She thinks everyone triggers her trauma. She also believes that when she's at work, people are being unfair to her because they're asking her to go to the washroom with her. Like, she literally told me this one time, it triggered her trauma that one of her colleagues wanted to go to the washroom with her. And she started crying about it because she's like, why do I have to follow a group? Why can't I just be alone? Why do I have to be a part of a group? And I'm like, oh, okay. But I still supported her that day because I'm like, maybe I don't understand her pain, but I can still care for someone, even if I can't understand their pain, you know? Fast forward, I made her meet one of my other friends, and she was the new shiny object. And because friend A, who has a trauma, and friend B is like a really fun person, and she doesn't, like, we didn't bond over trauma. Like, I met her after all the shit I was going through, and we basically bonded over, like, shared interests, like food, Asian food, K-pop, K-drama, cutesy stuff, and, like, travel, and just, like, really fun things, you know? Like, I have different types of friends for different activities, that I wouldn't say I'm, like, emotionally connected to them. Like, I just go out there and, like, do stuff with them, but I wouldn't necessarily call them, like, a true friend. They're just someone I know that I hang out with, you know? That's it. So she's one of them, and I don't have any deep connection with her. Like, I just meet her every once in a while, and we do fun things, and done, right? So I made her meet that friend, and almost immediately she started to ignore me. Suddenly, she's, like, holding an umbrella on top of her head. She's ordering food for her, paying for her food, and not asking me what I would want to have, even if I'm gonna pay for my own food. And then start talking in a language that I'm not familiar with. Like, they can speak the same language, and it's, like, one of the rudest shit ever, because if I'm in a group setting and I'm speaking in a different language with someone, and I have a third person who doesn't understand the language, I believe that it's very, very uncourteous and it's like poor etiquette, and it's also very rude on their face that you are not a part of this conversation, you know? Started doing that, and I started feeling like, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? Like, why is this person, like friend A, acting so weird? So I went home, I sent her a voicemail, and I was also very tired because I was traveling, I was jet lagged. I asked her, hey, like, what's up? And why is it that you were ignoring me today? Like, literally, you're ignoring me and you're speaking Korean. And, like, did I offend you, or did I say something that really bothered you, right? And she didn't respond to my voicemail until the next day, and she called me and she started apologizing immediately. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That was not my intention. Like, you know, you're visiting my country. Of course, I want to show you around, and I'm really happy. I was just like really pressured, and I was really stressed that I was not doing a good job. And I don't know, when I started like not talking in English, I'm really sorry. And I was like, oh girl, it's like totally fine. I'll be fine. And like, I really appreciate you understanding how I felt. And like, we're good, girl. Like, we're good, right? So immediately I forgive and move on, just because I was like, okay, maybe there's nothing wrong. Because I asked her if something's wrong. She's like, no, 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 there's nothing wrong, right? So that very day, my other friend starts texting her. And I'm like, oh, they just met and they're already texting. And there's like a plethora, like a whole, like you could keep scrolling. There's like lots of conversations in there. And then I remembered, because the first friend, she told me that, oh, I just texted her because she sent me a ramen place and I said thank you. And I'm like, a thank you shouldn't take that long, where you can literally scroll down on a conversation, right? So it's like, it's fine. It's good. If my friends are getting along with each other and hanging out without me, that's fine. Like, especially I don't live in that country. Like, I'm traveling, right? So it's good that they have a new connection. I come home, I'm chilling, I'm living my life, and I'm planning to like continue with my next day, and this girl starts to not talk to me as much, and she's like, I'm really sick, I don't think I can make it today. And I'm like, oh, that's fine, I'll take care of myself, I hope you feel better. I check in on her, I'm like, how are you feeling today? And she's like, I'm good. And then multiple days later, I traveled to a different Asian country where I'm at right now, and I like texted her, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for like everything you did. And even during the trip, I said thank you to her like multiple times, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, right? And I think it's natural that like if you travel to a friend's country, like they're gonna show you around, because when she was in Toronto, I showed her around. I have multiple friends that come to Toronto, and like I show them around, because I have a friend from Ottawa, he comes often. I pick the restaurant, I pick the itinerary, like, and I make him check it and be like, hey, like, do you think this is something that you want to do? And he says, yeah, absolutely, and we have no issue whatsoever. And she sends me like a long message saying that I was being disrespectful, and I was being an unhealthy friend, and that I was triggering her trauma by making her apologize. You know how she apologized and she kept saying sorry, 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 and I'm like, hey, you don't have to say that many sorries, like I told you I accepted your apology, we're good. She was like, no, I don't think it's a good friendship, because you are making us plan the itinerary, you're making us do all the work, like me and friend B. And I'm like, excuse me, like, did friend B say anything to you, right? And apparently she didn't. I reached out to friend B and I was like, hey, like, did you have any issues that I was visiting and like, you know, you guys were showing me around? And she's like, absolutely not, girl, like, it was such a pleasure to have you, and I wish you were here for longer. And friend B is the person who's like super fun, right? And the one that I didn't bond with over trauma or shared trauma. And then friend B texted me and told me that friend A was already reaching out to her to hang out with her, while friend A is like literally like head on fighting with me, or trying to like, you know, tell me that I'm a terrible person, I'm a bad friend, and that I'm not healthy for her, and that I triggered her trauma. And I'm like, damn, whoa. She's gaslighting me, she's manipulating me into thinking that they're not all that close, because she lied to me about the whole ramen thing, and that they don't text like that. And then on top of that, she is cutting me off while trying to take my friend away from me, you know? And they're gonna go hang out next week. I wonder what's gonna unfold and what they're gonna talk about. I'm pretty, like, knowing friend B, I know that she will not stab me in the back, but I will not be surprised, you know? Like, I have been stabbed in the back so many times with so many girls. Female friendships are like one of the most difficult things I've ever navigated, because there's just so much jealousy, there's so much like need for validation, there's so much um care, and the way they oftentimes would give you care expecting that you would care more for them. It's like, you know, it's ingrained in females, or the female species, that if I care for you, you're gonna love me. And a lot of the times, even without knowing, like subconsciously, we operate from that place, that if I'm doing so much for you, how could you do that to me, you know? And yeah, that was the story for you, because she always operates from a place of like, this person's triggering my trauma, even though I literally did nothing wrong, and I brought up and I was being confrontational about something that bothered me, and I asked her. It made her feel small, and it made her feel like, damn, now that she's picking on a flaw in me or about me, I have to pick on a flaw that's related to her, or like, I'm gonna have to try to find something that she fucked up, you know? And yeah, I've had other scenarios. I can definitely do a story time on those ones, but I've had other friends that, like, I would tell them I went shopping and like I did this and that during my vacation, and then they would ask me, what did you shop? And I'm like, oh, nothing much, like I went to this place and I got shoes or something. And then the next day they would not talk to me, or like they would talk to me in like a very disrespectful way, like almost like, oh, okay, I'll see you then, sure, you know, like the sure type of texting. And I'm like, damn, am I not allowed to share anything good happening to me? And like, real friendships or true friendships should not feel like that, that if something good happens to you, you feel guilty to share with your friend, you know? So yeah, I don't know, we live in a world where offending people is really hard. Finding good friends is hard. People without trauma is hard, but there are good people out there. There are people with character and morals, and people that have worked on their trauma and they don't talk about their trauma anymore. Because if you're living on this fucking planet, you will have trauma. Which person does not have trauma? I don't think anyone out there doesn't have any incident where they were like, my fucking gut dropped on the floor and I cannot stop thinking about it. Everyone had that moment in their life. I truly believe that. It doesn't matter. To your context, it might be small. To mine, it might be big, and vice versa. But I think everyone has trauma, and how you treat people solely depends on your character and the type of person you choose to be. It's in your hand. So yeah, cut out all the dusties in your life, okay? All the dusty friends, the dusty relationships, the partners, and yeah, like, I'm not gonna deal with these bullshit. And like, she's not the only friend in the world. Always remember that. Abundance mindset. You can always meet new people, you can always form new connections. And some people think, oh, I've invested so many memories, I grew up with this person, blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. You could literally meet someone today and you'll feel like I've known them forever, because you have so much love and care and like synchronicity. Like, you feel very aligned with that person. It can totally happen, and be open to that opportunity. Like, you'll be surprised by like how much your reality can change just by believing that good things can happen to you. Okay, that's it for today. Bye.